Yo, yo, yo. What is up? What is up? What is up? Welcome back to the episode of the third intermission two-man show today. Avery here in the host chair, joined by the one and only Ted Triss, a.k.a. Troy Piper Bowen. What's going on, Troy?
Not too much, not too much. Just hanging out on a work-free Sunday, which is rare for me, but that's all right. Yeah, just hanging out. Trying to enjoy the last few days of summer here because back to school is around the corner, and
Yeah.
so is NHL training.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yo, for the I was gonna say, at third intermission, we got multiple parents on this podcast. So for you, yo, I know, once August hits for you, it's like, oh no, here comes school again. Here comes things to get. Here comes that pretty soon here. Oh man, but hey, you know what? It
How
is
about
August.
you, Avery? How are you this weekend?
You know what? A rare quiet weekend. A rare weekend I got to just relax and chill for once. I got to go to, for those of you who don't know, I got to go to Kerry West, which is the Edmonton version of Carabana. That's right. We got our own thing over here as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got our, yeah, that's the thing. People may not know. People listen to Third Intermission. They may not know that every major city in Canada has their own version of Carabana. There's one in Edmonton. There's one in Vancouver. There's one in Montreal. Everybody in the country got their own version of Bana.
Yeah, that's true. I remember seeing something the other day that they had a Brampton version, and they shut it down early because there was more people than I guess they had anticipated, and just like the overcapacity. They were just like, no, we're gonna shut this down.
Okay, wait,
Because
wait, wait.
and I guess because it's Brampton, they're just like, we don't want. They already carry enough of a bad name right now, so they're just like, let's lock this off before anything else happens, so we get an even worse name.
Well, hold on. Brampton wasn't prepared. Now, if it was Brantford, I get it. Come on, Brampton. Come on.
Yeah, come on, Brampton, get your things together.
Yo, come on, Brampton. You got enough people in that area who want to go have a good time. You got enough people who are West Indian from all backgrounds in that city to not be prepared. Come on, what are you doing, Brampton?
Yeah, let's fix up.
That's wild. That is wild. But in the hockey world, even though it's quiet today on I'm taping is an anniversary that literally reshaped hockey for generations. It is the 38th anniversary of the Wayne Gretzky to LA trade, a deal that, depending on who you ask, was more of a sale than a trade because Pierre Pocklington, for money, was hurting. As the deal went down, Gretzky, McSorley, and Mike Krushelnyski to LA for picks, Jimmy Carson, and those picks turned into Martin Jelna. Also Joe Murphy came in that deal to Edmonton, and it was one that people, if you're too young, if you don't know about it, Gretzky to LA changed hockey in terms of expansion, in terms of hockey growth in California, and Edmonton in return won with a younger core led by Mark Messier. So Troy, I know you're one of the older members of the podcast. What do you remember about August 9th, 88, and Gretzky being dealt to the Kings?
Well, to be fair, I was 5 when he got traded. So I don't really remember a whole lot in 1988. But in terms of impact afterwards, when like I could more comprehend things,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it seemed like it was a pretty big deal at the time. He was the face of the Oilers, alongside Mark Messier, but I would say probably more him than Messier just because of the records he was piling up. It was definitely shocking because it shattered the belief that a star of a franchise to never be traded, and it happened. And then later on, Messier is gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
He ends up in New York to win the
Yep.
Stanley Cup. So, and I agree with the notion that Gretzky was sold rather than traded just because Peter Pocklington's name is attached. He was one of those greasy financiers, who would do anything to make a buck. Unfortunately, his idea of trading/selling Gretzky to LA, it didn't make him a buck and earned him a trip to prison. Yeah,
Yeah.
earned him a trip to prison. So, but yeah, it also shows that anything can happen at any time with NHL players. So I mean, unless you have this ironclad thing that says, I absolutely will not go anywhere. And I guess you can call that a no movement clause in today's NHL. I don't think that was something that existed back then. I feel like the no movement and no trade things are fairly newer additions to the CBA. But anything's possible. Anybody can get traded at any time. At least the picks that they got back didn't turn out to be complete busts. Most people would probably think that trading a guy of Wayne Gretzky's caliber would mean ultimate doom for the franchise and holding, moving, things like that. But Edmonton still goes strong. Various teams, various competitive teams and various non-competitive teams over the years, but they're still a franchise. Can't say the same thing for the Atlanta Thrashers.
Yeah, no, they're still a franchise, and that's the thing is that, with that deal, I think people who got into hockey back then, they didn't realize just how big Gretzky did out from Edmonton to LA truly was, because I mentioned how hockey became, at the time, more mainstream in California. People don't know that people saw the investment of what could come with also San Jose entering the NHL, Anaheim, so on and so forth. Nashville, Vegas, Atlanta. Even though Atlanta, went away, they kind of could be coming back pretty soon. People still saw the viability to an extent of hockey in Sunbelt markets on what that could be. Of course, other markets like Dallas, Phoenix, and one thing too that impacted hockey in California that you saw a lot more kids, Troy, in those areas playing hockey, wanting to be like a Wayne Gretzky, like other players like who played on the Kings at that time. And that really brought relevance to the Kings team, which, the Kings had in that era, a couple of years earlier, Marcel Dion, you still had Bernie Nichols, you still had Luc Robitaille. That turned the LA Kings into being a major mainstream brand, not just for hockey, but for sports in general, because in that era, Troy, you saw a lot of people wanting to wear a Kings silver and black jersey. That was really one of the first hockey jerseys people wore, not just to go to a hockey game, but they really wore as a fashion statement in that era as well.
Agreed. Gretzky going to LA definitely put more eyes on the team and on the state of California in general. A lot of people probably figured, hockey wasn't going to work because it's in a state where it doesn't snow. It's probably more rain than anything. So they weren't really sure how that was going to work. And then I don't know if you remember that Gretzky being in LA because he started. Not to say that hockey wasn't popular, but because such a name like Gretzky went to LA, it turned more eyes on the sport. And then on top of it too, roller hockey league and expanding and exploding.
Yep.
Something that you wouldn't really see in California. Because normally you see people going for casual skates on the boardwalk, this and that. But never full on league. And Gretzky should have some credit in that, in the explosion of inline hockey in that state. So regardless of what you think about him as a person right now, back then when he was still a decent human being, uh, he helped bring more eyes to the sport. He was, how do I say this? He, at that time, the eyes that they were trying to bring to the sport is basically what they're trying to do now. Like, he was marketing by himself. Like, just the name alone was marketing enough to bring eyes to the sport, create whole leagues because of him, because of the explosion and how good it was, and people are looking at it like, hey, I want to get into this too. If Gretzky can do it, why can't I? So what if there's other avenues where I can play some variation of hockey and be good at it? And I mean, Jackson Culver is a great example of that.
Yeah. No, exactly,
So,
Jack. Yeah.
so Gretzky going to LA and causing that big boom of hockey, and like you said, like later on, like the expansions for other teams, for other California-based teams, it worked out. It absolutely worked out. I mean, yes, not every California team has been crazy successful, but they're still competitive. They're still worth watching, especially out on the West Coast.
And you mentioned roller hockey and its growth across the U.S. continent. Right there, Jackson Culver, a guy who's an NHL prospect now who didn't play ice hockey until he came to Ontario. He had to learn about ice hockey rules from playing hockey in the Cayman Islands, because a lot of rules in roller hockey he didn't know don't exist in ice hockey. He had to learn about that in pretty quick time to become an OHL player. And those are players who are going to learn about hockey more and more. And it goes from, the culture of hockey to expanding and growing outwards. And I remember when Gretzky went to LA, that was still an NHL that didn't even have 25 teams. It was still the era of trying to break out of the 21 team era. It was still in those northern markets in large part, save for LA. And people saw that growth and said, you know what, let's just try to see if we can grow the game beyond this one California market and see what happens. And you're also seeing too now, Troy, is that those kids in NHL, I mean, the Leafs have two examples of that growth on their roster: Matthew Nyes and Austin Matthews, kids from Arizona, who via the Coyotes, via expansion, gone to hockey. You're seeing more kids playing hockey who are at the highest levels in NHL, the P-Dub, CHL, NCAA, who are from these markets that 30, 40 years ago you would never see playing high-level hockey. Kids from Arizona, California, Texas. We've got kids from Mason Lohrei is from Louisiana. He's from Louisiana in the NHL. That would never happen 40 years ago.
No, definitely not. But it's nice to see the progress that's been made. It definitely set hockey in the right direction. Like, aside from the nonsense we deal with today, it definitely set hockey in the right direction, which is why we ended up with so many teams. I'm glad we ended up with more and not less. Because, I mean, if you're going to be called a National Hockey League, you got to have representation across the United States and Canada. You can't just leave one major state out of it.
No, exactly. And you're seeing, I looked before I visited hockey, in terms of their youth growth, and the states that are growing in terms of hockey involvement, it's not your Michigans, it's not your Minnesotas, it's all those deep south states or Sunbelt markets where you're seeing these massive jumps in kids who are playing hockey and who are advancing. Because you're gonna see more Austin Matthews. You're gonna see more of these kids who are in the desert who play hockey, who are growing. We're talking about the World Cup of Hockey, and we talk about how Olympic hockey. I know Dave has always talked about one day it'll be so cool to see Team Jamaica, Team West Indies. I think we've talked about on the show before one day, and that growth, and the kids from the diaspora who are getting into hockey now. I firmly believe, I've said before, World Cup of Hockey, we are at a place now where why not have a Team West Indies? There's enough kids, there's enough players who have a West Indian heritage, who got into hockey, who you can make it happen. Why not? There's enough kids, enough players who are competent enough, who are skilled enough that that team won't get blown out.
So here's my thought process on that.
Mm-hmm.
The World Cup of Hockey, they're doing that again, yes?
Yes, they are.
Perfect
2028.
time to add a team.
No?
Wouldn't that be the perfect time to have a team like that? How do you call the World Cup of Hockey and, ignore the Caribbean people?
Yeah.
Come on now, make it happen.
No. And the thing is too that people have always said, have real nations or whatever. Like, this is not a double IHF sanctioned tournament. Who cares? Who cares? You don't need to have
real. What does it mean have real nations? It's not like we have like the island of Victoria out here actually trying to compete for a spot. Are you dumb? Pick up a map, open a book, open the school.
right?
What do you mean? Dummies, all of them.
Like, yeah. So, like, we had Team Europe, we had Team North America there. Like, who cares? Because I said before on the show, I pitched the idea once to Darnell Nurse, and Darnell Nurse says to me, and I quote, I would consider it. He's already thought about, you know what? Why not? If that opportunity happened, he thought about that, and I would, if Darnell Nurse was out, if he was making Team Canada, you got Darnell Nurse openly considering playing for a Team West Indies if that were ever to be a thing. So, and yeah.
We need more people with his mindset where it's just like, like if this comes up while I'm still in relatively good playing shape to do so,
yeah,
run it. I'll do it. And like, I can totally understand the whole I would consider it thing because again, timing is a factor.
Mm-hmm.
You could have declining skills by the time it comes around. So like, if that comes around, like you being on that team, if you know your skills are declining, you're not going to be representing your country well. And then people are going to be like, oh, it was a bad idea to have their Caribbean folks in it. They can't play hockey, this, that, so on and so forth. So I totally get the wording of his answer, which is why the league needs to move on this faster.
Yeah.
We say almost every other episode, we have ideas that can get eyes on the game. Come on, listen to the fans.
Exactly.
Listen to the people in the sport. You can't constantly have a bunch of old lawyers running around making the rules and then complaining, oh, I'm not getting enough traction. What can we do? Hello?
Exactly. And some people might try, like Tic-Tac Tomar, he drew a roster beforehand back in 2023. There's enough, you know what? And if we don't have enough players to make up 23 NHL players, you know how many West Indian players there are in the NCAA hockey, in the CHL, playing pro in Europe? We got enough for a near total pro roster.
Listen, you have, like, in the Olympics, you have guys playing for Italy, Japan, like, other countries, and, like, I guess on surface level, it's just, like, nothing about their actual last name that screams they're from this country.
No.
You know, it's somewhere in that lineage where it's just, like, that family lineage where it's like, okay, well, I have a person like my great-great somebody is from this country, so I'm going to represent them.
Mm-hmm.
They do the same thing, too. I'm sure there's a yeah, I just painted myself in a corner because I'm going to sound extremely I don't mean it. There's got to be at least two white people. There's got to not even one. There's got to be at least two white people with some sort of Caribbean lineage somewhere in their family tree. At least two.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be like, all right, especially for like countries like strong nations like Canada, U.S., Sweden, Russia. Those teams are hard to make because all those like some countries like those can make at least 3 teams. So why not represent somebody
Exactly.
Not necessarily because it's easier to make the team, but why not represent that country?
Yeah.
Show people where you're from, where it's just like I'm not just Canadian and my background, and this is fully who I represent. Embrace your family tree. Embrace your ethnicity.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah, because when Team Jamaica had their when Team Jamaica plays every so often in the Latin Caribbean Cup, there's a few white boys who are on Team Jamaica. I look at the roster and go, that's a white boy on Team Jamaica. There's a few of them who are playing in Division 1, Division 2 hockey in the NCAA. Full white boys for Team Jamaica. It's like, yo, come over to Team West Indies side. We might need you in a few years. Oh my god, that is, the long story short, this Gretzky deal impacted a lot of hockey when it came to the growth of the game in Canada, in the US, and abroad. And it's funny because, you know what I always find wild about that deal, Troy? ESPN 30 for 30. King's Ransom was the first movie in ESPN 30 for 30 they dropped. An NHL story. The first ESPN 30 for 30 movie that dropped. That's always been wild to me, considering when that dropped in 2009, ESPN didn't have NHL rights. So, it goes to show how impactful that trade was when a US network said, you know what our first movie's gonna be? A hockey one.
Yeah. And you would think after doing that first one, and then, they would do more. It took them a while to get back into hockey after that.
Mm-hmm.
And it still kind of shows today that, some parts of ESPN hockey coverage definitely needs a lot of work in big 2026. But, yeah, I mean, ESPN definitely did their part in terms of highlighting Gretzky trade. And while it is surprising for that network to do that, I'm glad they did. Because, I mean, like you said, it put a spotlight on Gretzky, Washington, the Kings, and the Oilers. Things that people probably weren't in tune or paying attention to when that happened. And I'm sure there's a lot of hockey heads around that time where we're just like, I want to know the inside workings of this and how did this come about the way it did. And I think ESPN did a good enough coverage of that to highlight that and turn it into a show. And off the success of that, they were able to do a multitude of 30 for 30 documentaries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I would love to see them do more NHL stuff. I would love to see, and you mentioned the coverage, Troy. I think there's an appetite for, in some ways, spin off and do separate ones based on just sports alone, because there's so many NHL stories over 100 years. I would love to see them go even more in depth on that you only touch on at the surface level, Troy.
Yeah. And, sorry to fill out. Sometimes the Zoom thing fills up and I keep this plugged in. Like having more in-depth investigative things, it definitely helps from an outsider's perspective to keep see what kind of things kind of happen and how they come about. So again, it's nice to see things like that. Hopefully they keep growing, and I'd like to see more stories. I mean, I find a lot of their 30 for 30 have become more about more obscure things.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously they'll do like their NFL, their NBA, their boxing, this, that, whatever, the occasional wrestling. But I don't really think you can call yourself a worldwide leader in sports when the only major hockey one that stands out happens to be your very first episode.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, like I want to see, and now they have the rights again to the NHL. I want to see them do a little bit more, because again, there are so many stories you can get into on. I know CBC did their one on Harold Ballard, which I thought was very well done, but then there are so many other hockey stories over the years, you could dive right into. I mean, what they've only really done King's Ransom, the Rangers Cup drought, and the Avalanche Wings rivalries, which were all very well done. But those are what? And Miracle, and then one on Team USA Hockey. They've won what? 4 out of I think total now they've done about 120. 4 out of 120 are on hockey. We could do more.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That many episodes and he only has 4? Come on.
I know, but hopefully putting this out there in the ether can help push it forward to people who might have a little bit of power at the network. And going from the Gretzky deal to news in Sweden. So, if you didn't know, Färjestad, the FHL had signed a deal with Cal Foote, and after outrage, they rescinded their move to sign Cal Foote. So, first of all, the fact that you signed him, I'm mad about, but the fact that you listened to fan backlash and say, you know what, dude? No. Good on you. Take note, other teams. You can listen to your fan base opposed to sign a guy who was involved in something heinous and say, you know what? Nah, we're not going to do it. Hint, hint, certain hockey teams.
You know, I am thoroughly impressed, and I will applaud the team. Hold on, what was her name again?
Färjestad.
Färjestad, yes. Big ups to Färjestad for, you know what, saying, I hear the outrage, let's do the homework. Oh, this MFer did this? Alright. Peace out. Sorry, we can't have none of this. Like, I guess that club has decided, you know what, our fans come first, and because of the things that follow Mr. Foot around, who wants that negative press? Because that's gonna just, like, let's say Färjestad goes on to do something absolutely tremendous this year. Mm-hmm. All of that is going to take a back seat because Cal Foote is on your team. That is all everyone and anyone is going to talk about. Yeah. You don't need that kind of distraction because after every game, who's on, like, I don't know how their post-game media sessions work, but I can't imagine having to sit there after every game answering questions about Cal Foote and why was he signed, what kind of person is he now, this, that, the third, yada, 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 rate. No, Swedish Elite League said none of that. Said him gone.
No.
Which is good. And I feel like any pro team in any league who currently has one or is thinking of signing any of these particular players should follow suit and be like, bye-bye. Like, they should take the stance of, yes, you were acquitted, but that they still need to offer that mindset of, that doesn't mean you weren't guilty. I think having these players on your roster sends the wrong message to the organization, the fans, and more specifically women who follow the sport. Because having a player of such negative notoriety on your team, it is a slap in the face and 100% goes against the statement that says hockey is for everyone. It is not. Because if you're employing these type of people because they're a name, forget about it. If you're doing this, like, it's the only way that these people should be getting any kind of employment really is joining the Trump administration, because that cabinet is full of unqualified, degenerate, beep, I'm censoring myself because yeah,
Yep.
we know what all those beefs are.
Mm-hmm.
Unqualified, uneducated pieces of you know what. That's the only place they fit it.
Yeah. And
Other than that,
yeah.
don't ruin a beautiful game with your misogyny and the fact that you can't keep your hands to yourself.
Oh. And
If
you
it's
know,
inclusive, that it's inclusive. Stop hiring these people. There's no way that you can't tell me that there isn't a better player that can take that person's spot that doesn't have trouble follow them around.
and it's a thing in which, again, you said it, Troy. Yes, they was acquitted, but again, if you know, like I said, if you know how the Canadian law works, there was a level of misconduct towards EM, and also, no company, part of that is a private business. There's no right for Cal Foote to work in hockey. There's no right. There's no God-given right for Färjestad to give him a job. I understand, yes, they went back on it, but again, there was a way for them clearly to rescind that contract. And all these guys, they should work in hockey. Again, there's no right for a private entities to hire these guys. If they don't want to, they can take back certain things clearly, or they can not offer deals. So, I'm just glad the Färjestad listened and said, nope, we cannot do this.
Yeah, for me, like Färjestad, they treat it like a probationary period when you start a new job, where you can get fired without reason within that time frame. And I'm glad that they decided, you know what, we put you on probation. All right, now we know more and more details, and because of the negativity that follows you anywhere, and to the best of my knowledge, I've never been there, but Sweden, my understanding is that Sweden is a peaceful country. You're going to disrupt that peace by having somebody of that come into your league? Mm-mm. No,
Yeah.
no, go play your trade in the beer league where nobody knows you.
You're talking about a culture in which post-game, they had an interview, they had an official on certain calls on television and asked him, why did you make that call? This kind of culture we're talking about, where the officials get on TV to defend their calls. Do you think Cal Foote would have been good? Nah, sir. Nah. They don't mess around over there at that.
Yeah.
I'm
Like
sorry.
imagine having to defend foreplay from a guy, and on top of it having to answer questions about him off the ice. Like those coaches are gonna go. You're gonna see them start growing gray hairs literally in those press conferences because of the stress of having to answer these questions.
Yeah.
They're just like the only thing I want to be stressed about is putting together something from IKEA. Leave us alone.
No, like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that stress. And we already saw some guys went to the KHL because it's clear in the KHL they don't care about that stuff. So he's probably going to try and get a deal with Russia because they showed before they don't care about that.
Like if you gotta keep going to different places around the world to find employment because of your legal history, it's time to hang them up.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a McDonald's or a Wendy's or a Burger King, somebody that's hiring. Put the fries in the bag, bro. Your career's done.
But,
And that's your fault. Nobody to blame but yourself.
yeah. And before our things up here, we'll swing things back to a much better topic. This has been a summer of black folk in hockey helping out the youth dem. Be it the Black Hockey Summit, be it HA Summerfest, be it a Tinker and Company going out over to Jamaica and helping things out with the WCHC. I love the fact that we're seeing again the various black hockey groups this summer going out and putting their best foot forward to help kids get involved in hockey, get involved in sport on their own time. And this is one thing where I think we, the culture, Troy, know that, hey, it's important to keep, when we talk about making the game for everybody, it isn't just a talking point. It's a matter of going out there and doing the work, be it in Canada, in America, or in Jamaica, what Soroyo is doing.
Yeah, words without actions are they're just words. There's a quote I think from Mike Pinball Clemens. I believe it goes something to the effect of, action. Hold on, I might actually have to Google it because I want to get this right. Dream without action. Oh, sorry, I'm googling googling this as we talk here. Dream. Whoa. Vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. Sorry, that's the word. That's the statement I'm looking for from Mike Kimball Clemens.
There you go.
And I think that applies. I think that absolutely 100% applies here. You can talk about the doing part all you want until you verbally turn blue in the face, until there's no more air in your lungs. But it doesn't mean anything if you don't try to do something about it.
Mm.
And this is where the HCA steps in to try and help solve the NHL problem of visibility and following through on that statement that hockey is for everyone. The HCA and the various clubs that are involved in, in the community, helping, children and people of all ages, colors, walks of life enjoy the quality of life and sports is, like, the work that they're doing is amazing. They're not just talking about it, they're being about it.
Exactly.
And the old head lawyers that run the NHL and all these teams, they need to take note of this. There needs to be more people on board with this movement to back up what they're saying. They can't just rely on outside parties to do the work for them. You want to take yourself as a serious league as one of the 4 major North American sports, get off your ass and go do something.
Yeah.
Go join them. Go help them.
Yes. And you see it again. You see it again when you look at LT Hockey University, Anthony Stewart, what he's done, how he's brought in literally over the years hundreds of kids to come play, come take part. And we see Anthony, it isn't just about, playing hockey. It's also about learning about your culture in the game, how to navigate being in, say, the GTHL, the OHL, NCAA, as a black player, pro hockey as a black player, teaching them lessons on things you're going to have to learn or experience. It isn't just simply about, here's a stick, go out there and shoot. There's a whole culture you got to learn about that. And that's what I like about, again, stuff with the HDA, what we see with Women of Color Hockey Collective, with Hockey Equality. Because again, players like Anthony, Akeem, Sawyer Tinker, they didn't have a ton of those mentors in the game who looked like them, who sounded like them, who experienced what they went through as black players up the ranks. So for them to say, you know what, we have to be that generation that can be the guardians and the those who guide those who are playing in the PDUB or who will play in the PDUB, the NHL, in 5, 10, 15 years, that's so important, Troy.
Yeah, absolutely. And having the youth see, someone who looks like them playing in the sport, it gives them hope, it gives them confidence, it inspires them to do something great. Whether it be actually playing the sport or being involved in the sport or just life in general. It's nice to see someone who looks like you in a successful position, because then it shows that, like, if I can attain this for myself, you can too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one thing,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, the one thing too is that one thing I've been grateful for is that these different groups, they've always been very open in having their intermission there, be it HCA, be hockey quality, be whatever, whatever. Because they know as well, too, that being involved in hockey isn't just, like you said, Troy, isn't just playing. It's also working, say, as an official, a GM, working in the media as well. They said before, they want to show these kids, hey, you can be like a Troy, Dave, Avery, Marsha, and talk about the game as black people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many avenues that one could go down and find success. And like you said, having somebody help you along the way to help you navigate that path, and how to either avoid or deal with certain situations that may possibly arise. Like having somebody there to guide you through that is absolutely beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives hope to current, future, current and future generations that, there is a place for you,
Yeah.
And we're willing to help you get there. Like, it
Exactly.
can't just be the same old faces running things. Like, us as people of color, we have ideas too, and it's about time that we get hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
We're
is.
capable of running. We're capable of management positions. We're capable of making major decisions. You
Mm-hmm.
just need to give us that opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Like, look at what Mike Greer's done in San Jose. That's a one big example right there from a guy with tons of playing experience. People thought, because we've seen various other former NHL players go into differing management or coaching positions and fail spectacularly, like Gretzky in Phoenix, you know, the Isa plan in Detroit, the Canada plan in Toronto. All of them went bad. Mike Greer, I think he's been in San Jose, what, three seasons now?
Yep.
And at least, I think the first season he was there, I think maybe even, if that, I would say maybe the first half of that season was bad. Everything has gone up from there. And now San Jose is one of those California teams that is on everybody's radar. San Jose is the place that people want to go now because of the things that Mike Greer is doing. Had it been like an older octogenarian, an older dude where it's just like, oh, it's got to be this way or no way at all. Like one of those old school coaches kind of vibes. In 2026, they don't work no more.
Mm-hmm. No.
Like the things that worked for you in the 60s, 70s, and 80s does not work in today's game. The game has changed way too much to be using those tactics and systems. You need fresh ideas, fresh plans, new thought processes. Mike Greer brings that to San Jose, and that's why it's the place to go now.
No, exactly. And we want to see more of that. And, I got an interview coming up. I did an interview at the HCA Gala, so I'll post this week here with Joel Ward. And Joel Ward, look at him, behind the bench in Vegas, now the head coach of the Henderson Silver Knights. And talking to Joel at the HCA after party, Joel understands what that means to now be a head coach as a person of color in hockey and what that's going to do. And he's honored to be entrusted with being that voice, help get guys to the next level. And I hope we see more guys like Joel who get those opportunities, who get to coach. I mean, we've had on Jason Payne before and coached in the ECHL. And I look at that, I think to myself, what's also cool is that groups like Hockey Equality, the Women's Collective, and HJ is that it isn't just one player, it isn't just two players. Almost the entire throng of players of these groups come to help out, to say, what can I do? How can I be an assistant? And that's how you're going to grow, is that when you get that player and then their teammates, the alumni, because the HJ event, it was so cool to be there. And again, be around guys like Wayne, get a chance to meet Nazem Kadri, get to meet Marshawn Lynch, get to meet all those people. and feel like, hey, we want you here. We're here because, hey, we see the vision to push the game forward in ways that people didn't consider. Even just, and remember, all these, in large part, these groups came out of what happened in 2020. And it stemmed from just simply talking about it to making things happen. And for years, people just said, oh, it'll be nice if things change. It'll be cool if things change. But now we're seeing it actually come into motion, and we're seeing the actual results. I mean, it is going to be easy. There's a lot of work to be done, but the fact that, there's something being put into motion, things are changing. Things that we're starting to see progress now, Troy.
As long as there's forward progress, I'm happy. Mm-hmm. Like you just said, things won't happen overnight. We would love to see things happen as quick as you could tap your finger or you can blink. But I guess I don't even know who said this, but the saying goes, Rome wasn't built overnight. You got to put in the work. There's going to be long, hard, grinding hours. There's going to be lots of no's, barely any yeses. But you've got to prove that this is worth fighting for. And I think what the Third Intermission podcast is doing, what the Hockey Diversity Alliance is doing, what Black Girls Hockey Club is doing, what Women of Color is doing, we're all on that path. Mm-hmm. And I think as long as we have that confidence and ability in ourselves that we can make enough noise to change the game to the way that, it shows that the work that we've done wasn't for naught. I think it's a good first step.
Absolutely.
I would love to see all of us succeed. My hope and goal, I wouldn't say a full takeover, but as close to a takeover as we can get. Mm-hmm. Because there's too much talent sitting by the wayside for us to continuously be ignored.
Yeah. Way too much talent. Way. And a great example is that going to the HDA event, meeting people at the HDA after party, and being on the red carpet, and being asked, who you guys are, just talking on the media who had not met yet, and them asking, who do you guys work for, or who do you work for? And it felt good because I said to a few of the media guys, I'm with Third Intermission. And the first response was, I know that show. Well, I've heard that show. The fact that they knew immediately is like, that's progress. There are people that we don't know, we have not met yet. And to them to say, not, where'd that show air? To, I know that show, I've heard that show? That's something.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the best way to get things started is word of mouth. And if people that we haven't met yet know about us and what we do, and Dave, I know you're listening to this. Keep this going.
Yep.
I know you've had your doubts, my man. Don't quit. We've started to lay the groundwork. We just got to keep building that foundation so we get to where we need to be. Mm-hmm. HCA, same thing. Black Girls Hockey Club. All these groups that are trying to make a difference. Don't stop. Nope. Keep it pushing.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Because again, we've talked many times before everything's up. We've talked many times privately off air about, listen, I said before to you guys and Dave, there are so many people in the hockey world. There are numerous NHLers who know what we do and are inviting us to these events. It's not a question anymore of, show who you are, prove yourself. It's now, hey, you want to come to this event? Of course, instantly. How many of you guys are coming? No questions asked. Yep, you're good. You're good. That's huge.
Yeah, and the fact that we're being recognized even in curling circles. Mm-hmm. Through Marsha. You know, we're starting. A lot of, I guess, some people might think we're just a hockey podcast. For the most part, yes, but we're not dumb, deaf, and blind to the other sports and the things that happen in them. But like we started this for a mission to be a voice for those who aren't seen, who people are purposely ignoring.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for myself, I know I jumped in on this project, I guess, kind of late, but I'm happy that I'm a part of it. I'm happy that I met you guys through Mr. Stick, shout out Jordan Hales.
Yes.
I'm happy that we've made such huge strides.
Yeah.
I would love to see this keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see everybody who's put in the work, regardless of what group you affiliate with, the groups and people, individuals who have put in the work. We're all making tremendous strides.
Yeah.
We are doing our part to be seen and be heard.
Mm-hmm.
I love that for us.
Yeah. I mean, I almost forgot, but remember, 2024, Sebastian and Dave went to Pittsburgh with Black Dog Hockey Club with Renee S. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, and when time and funds allows, yeah, we'll travel.
Yeah.
We'll go places.
Yeah. I almost forgot. Yeah. Yeah, because again, it's
with all the controversy, I guess, we're kind of like hockey's version of CM Punk, where the voice is a voiceless.
Because I mean, there's a few topics. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm proud to be a representative for the voice of the voiceless, because the more we speak, the more we encourage other people to find their voice and talk that talk and be about it like we are.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of topics we've dove into over the past few years here. That only ourselves, Rick Westhead, Katie Strang have dared to touch. And you know what? I'm at the point where I don't care anymore. If people don't like it, tough. That, you don't like that? Oh well. It is what it is. It's a part of the sport. We're gonna talk about that. If you don't like how I deal with certain things, you know what? Hey, c'est la vie. It is what it is. I'm bringing, if you want to keep those skeletons in the closet, we're going to drag them out, because that's how the game changes. I don't care anymore. I'm not here to protect those people.
Yeah, we're done piecing things under the rug. We're lifting that rug up and we're moving that dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Clean it up.
Yep. Because there have been, I remember someone once told me how, someone told me how your show is protected because the fact that you guys and Marsha, you guys hit on some real issues, and you guys still have access to go into PW rooms and NHL rooms, and ain't no one said anything to you yet. You guys have the juice. They're saying how, because you want to come for us? All right, it is what it is. But no, I still got my access. Marsha has hers still for the Scepters and PWHL. All right. So
let's keep it rolling.
Exactly. Anyways, with that being said, we got into a lot of good stuff tonight on a summer day. But that being said, for Troy, I'm Avery. Thank you once again for allowing us the grace of space in between your head top. In the meantime, drink your water, mind your business, and like Troy just threw up there, deuces. Later.